Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Moonbound Silence. Episode 4. Chapter 16 to 20. Jasper's POV. After apologizing to Michelle for the misunderstanding, I wanted to know exactly what happened with Layla, but Sarin kept saying it wasn't important and that we shouldn't waste our energy on her, so I dropped it. Although I was still concerned with the fact that Layla was causing problems, and it was serious enough that Michelle felt the need to shift to protect Sarin, I didn't want to press the issue further because I didn't want to make Sarin upset. After all that was said and done, Sarin invited Michelle to have dinner at our table as a way of saying thank you for her support, and at first Michelle denied the request, but Sarin insisted, and she finally agreed. After talking in my office for a few minutes longer, we all went down for dinner. As we walked through the dining room, I found Layla and her two shadows staring daggers at Michelle and Sarin. I let out a growl indicating that I saw them, and they dropped their eyes. I could see Layla seething in anger. I saw her gaze go to my neck, and I just smirked at her, and hurt filled her eyes. I just turned away from her and kept walking. As we were getting seated, an Omega brought our plates. "Hey, Michelle, fancy seeing you at our table," Milan said to her. "Yeah, the Luna invited me to join you guys." "Oh, I'm guessing you did something to get on her good side," Milan replied. "Yeah, I beat the SHT out Layla." "Nice!" Milan exclaimed, and they gave each other a high five. "I wish I could have seen that." "I wish you could just banish her already, Jasper," Jason said to me. I just looked at him. Come on man, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that she did something to the Luna, which is why Michelle had to shift. "You had to shift?" Milan asked. Michelle nodded. "She's toxic to this pack," Jason added. "I can't just banish a pack member for being toxic," I tell him. "Can you banish her for being complete and utter pain?" Milan asked. I gave her a look and she put her hands up. Although I understood why they wanted me to get rid of Layla, she hadn't broken any laws, and I wasn't the type to banish anyone just because. There needed to be a good reason. Although I couldn't help but wonder if today there was a good reason, and Sarin just isn't telling me. "Listen, tomorrow night, Sarin and I are going to be out of commission after dinner, so Kendrick, you are in charge." Aye, Captain," he salutes, and I just roll my eyes. Sarin giggles in her seat at Kendrick's immaturity. "So, I was wondering," Michelle started to say. "Now that Luna has been marked, when do you plan on having her Luna ceremony?" "That's a good question," Kendrick said. "Sarin." I looked down at her and she freezes in the middle of taking a bite of salad. Do I have to?" she asks. "Yes, you have to," Milan said to her. Sarin scrunched her face. "I have no idea, I honestly didn't think about it." "Don't worry, I'm sure Auntie Grace will come with a date and she will plan the whole thing," Milan replied. "Is that a good thing?" Sarin asked. "No," we all replied, and all started to laugh. "I'm not going to lie to you baby, I'm sure my mom has already started planning since earlier this afternoon," Sarin scowled at me and I just smiled. "Oh, speak of the devil," Milan said. I look over and see my mom practically skipping with a huge grin on her face. "Sarin, honey, when you're done with dinner, can we speak in private in your office?" "My office?" Sarin cd her head in confusion. "I have an office." "Oh," she looks at me and I just give her the look. "Oops," Sarin turns to me in confusion. "Well, it was going to be a surprise," I tell her, and she pressed her L.P.S. together, realizing my mother ruined it. I've been having it renovated since a lot of the furniture was dated, and I know you like books, so I was getting a new bookshelf installed and new floors. Really? Sarin's eye lit up. Yes, it's actually right next to mine, so if I'm ever busy, you can just go to your office and hang out with Milan or even Michelle here and just wait. I'm also having an intercom system installed, so if you need me and you can't get through via MindLink, you can reach me through the intercom. Oh wow, that's fancy. Shut up, Milan, she and Sarin just giggle. Aunt Grace, will you give us 10 more minutes, please? Sarin asked. Sure sweetheart, I will meet you there, my mother waved and walked away. Sarin's POV. After dinner, Jasper, Milan, and I went upstairs to meet Grace at my new office. I was really excited to see what it looked like since Jasper said he renovated the entire thing. I loved surprises, and even though the fact of my having an office was kind of blown out of the water, what it looked like was going to be a surprise, so it made me all giddy. Are you ready? Jasper asked as we stopped in front of a door on our floor, which I always assumed was a guest room. I nodded and smiled. Jasper opened the door, and my mouth jaw dropped at the image before my eyes. My office had white walls with gold trimming. The wall to the left was split with 5-tier bookshelves that had lighting on each level, and the middle of the wall was a fancy mirror that sectioned off with gold rods and had a very beautiful framed photo of a golden tree. The frame was very rustic and antique looking. It went well with the design of the mirror. The floor was black and white tile with a rug dead center and my desk overlaying on top of it with 2 guest chairs. On the other side of the desk was a fancy light gray office chair, and a small round table with a plant on it. My desk was made of some kind of dark gray stone, and it was very shiny. On top, there was a black lamp, a new computer, and some framed pictures. I walked around and looked at the photos, and one was the photo that Jasper showed me when he first told me how we met 8 years ago. The other photo was one of me and him, though I don't know when it was taken, and the last one was one of my parents. Off to the other side of the office was a large white leather L-shaped couch with white and gold cushions, a glass coffee table with gold bars, and another bookshelf that circled around behind the couch. When I looked up to what the light source was, I was in awe to see a gold and crystal chandelier that looked like a giant dandelion. So, what do you think? Jasper asked. I love it, it's beautiful in here, thank you. Oh darn, I'm too late for the big reveal, Grace said as she came in. Here is the key, Jasper said, handing me a key on a cute butterfly keychain. This is the intercom, right here on your desk. If I'm in my office, and you need anything, you just hit this red button, and talk into the speaker. Got it, I said. Alright ladies, have fun. I will be in the recreation room when you're finished, I nodded my head. He gave me a quick KSS on the LPS and left. I turned around and looked at my office chair. I skipped over and just sat down all dramatically and smiled big. Oh, now you look like a Luna, Milan said after I sat down and sat up straight. She's right, dear, this office suits you, Grace agreed. I smiled and absorbed it all in. I had my own office, my own little space. So, Aunt Grace, what did you want to speak to me about? I asked. Your Luna ceremony. I knew it, Milan said smiling. Auntie Grace, you're so predictable, I just giggled. Well, I wanted to do it this weekend, however, after what Ronan told me about your other predicament, I figured we could push it until next Saturday. How does that sound? I'm okay with that, I reply. Okay, so the date is settled. Now let's talk about the dress you will be wearing. Dress? Yes, now normally, you would wear your mother's Luna dress, but since that won't be possible, you can either choose to wear mine, or we can make you a brand new one. I think about it for a second. Although I would have preferred to wear my mom's, that wasn't going to happen. But I honestly couldn't see myself wearing Grace's either. I guess I'll go with making a new one. Okay, she said and wrote it down. Wait, Aunt Grace. Yes. Do you know what my mom's dress looked like? Of course, I have a picture of it. Why do you ask? Do you think it would be possible to make mine look like hers? Not exactly the same, but something inspired by it. That way I can wear something new, but it still make it seem like I'm wearing hers. Oh, I love that idea, we can definitely do that. I will just have to fish out that photo from her Luna ceremony. What else? I ask. Color scheme. We can always do the pack colors which are black and blue, or you can do your own. Since it's your Luna ceremony, you can choose whatever color scheme you like, dear. I tap my chin and think about it a minute. I think pack colors are fine, but can we add some white? Sure. Let's decide on hairstyle next, Milan said. She pulled out her phone and pulled some images of hairdos. We can do something simple that I can always do for you, or we can hire a professional stylist for something more advanced. I take her phone and go through some of the images she looked up. This one. Yeah, that's too advanced for me, professional stylist it is, she replies. But I'm still doing your makeup, I nodded and smile. Okay, well then, that's everything I needed from you, sweetheart. I will get all the details in order. I will get with you in a couple of days to get your measurements for your dress. Okay, Aunt Grace, thank you for everything. Anytime, darling, she sees my cheek and Milan's and walks towards the door. Oh, before I forget, Melody should be back from college that night, she says and walked out, closing the door behind her. Who? I asked Milan. Melody, Jasper's sister. Oh, that's right, I said, remembering Jasper has a sister. How old is she? She's 22, and she kind of belongs in Layla's group of friends. My face immediately darkens. Melody is the leader of their group of sluts, but when she went off to college in another state, Layla kind of took over. Oh, that's just lovely, I say sarcastically. Well, I'm hoping that after she finds out Layla slept with Jasper, she will leave their little group. Why is that? Well, because Melody has one rule when it comes to her little brigade, and that's to stay away from Jasper. I just look at her and shake my head in confusion. Jasper and Mel are super close. Even though she's the younger sister, she is very overprotective of him. Oh, what does that mean for me then? I'm bearing Jasper's mark. Hey, oh girl, you're fine. You're his mate, Melody will love you for that sole reason. Are you sure? Of course, Melody wanted to keep girls away from Jasper so he wouldn't be tainted when he found his mate, and now that he has, she's going to be thrilled. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Auntie Grace already told her. She's going to jump on you like a cat pouncing on a mouse. What does she look like? Mel? She's a younger version of Auntie Grace. I mean, seriously, those two could pass for twins. And Melody is a good person, with a great head on her shoulders. She just hangs out with stupid people. I'm hoping her time away at college made her more mature. You said that she left before she turned 18, right? I ask. Yeah, and from what Jason has told me, Mel still hasn't found her mate. I wonder who it could be, I say and tap my chin again. I honestly think it's my brother. I think it's going to be Kendrick. Want to bet on that? She asks, putting out her hand. I don't have much to bet with, I say to her and frown. Then let's bet on doing the other person's laundry for a week. Oh, that I can do, definitely do, I reply and shake on it. After we finished in my office, we went down to the recreation room where the guys were playing video games as always. Milan and I played a few rounds of pool, and she ended up eating me 3-2. I was a little bummed, but it wasn't surprising since Milan is the one that taught me how to play in the first place. Once we were all tired, we went upstairs to bed. I made Jasper carry me because I was just too tired from everything that went on today to go up that far. When we got to our room, Jasper put me down, and I dragged my feet into the bathroom to brush my teeth and wash my face for bed. Jasper took a little longer because he needed to use the toilet, and so I put on one of his shirts, and just face-planted the bed. I let out a big yawn and started to doze off. I felt the bed dip, and I turned over so I could face Jasper. He immediately put his arms around me. I heard him turn off the lamp, and I instantly fell asleep. Chapter 17. Sarin's POV. Jasper, are we there yet? I whined. It was starting to get dark, and the moon was creeping over the mountains. Almost, dearest, he replied and kept pulling me along with him. Jasper didn't want pack house members to see my wolf when I first shifted, since technically, I should be waiting for my Luna ceremony to shift for the first time in front of them. Because of whom I apparently am, we had to break a few traditions, and some older pack members would not be happy or appreciative of it. Jasper was me taking into the mountains away from the castle and the village surrounding it, and we had already been walking for almost 2 hours. I asked why couldn't have just driven, but he said that it would be dangerous bringing a car this way. Plus, he didn't want tire marks destroying the land. After walking for felt like another hour, Jasper finally stopped, and we were in front of a small pasture that had a stream flowing through it. I looked up and realized that the sky was open, there were no trees blocking the moonlight. All right, we're here, he said, dropping my hand. He immediately started to und.res. What are you doing? I ask. I'm going to shift into Blade before you shift into Callie. Having his wolf form present will bring both of you comfort, and it will keep you calm during your shift, I nodded my head. I started to und.res. Luckily, I was no longer shy about being n.ached in front of Jasper. I mean, that would make absolutely no sense since he has seen and felt every inch of my body. I stood by the stream and looked up at the moon that was now about halfway over the mountains, just peeking over the trees. Uncle Ronan said to trust my instincts and that I would know when to let Callie take over. I knelt down the stream and saw my reflection. I studied myself, and in the week I had been here, I could see I put on weight in my cheeks. You couldn't see my cheekbones as much, which was nice. I didn't look like a skeleton. My hair looked healthy and shiny now that I had hair products to use to keep it clean, and not just a bar of soap. I waited about another 30 minutes when a sudden tingle ran across my body. At first, I thought we were being watched, but Jasper didn't react. I dismissed it, but then I felt it again, only stronger. What was happening? I stood up quickly, and Jasper felt my sudden uneasiness and reacted. Sarin, baby, what's wrong? I feel weird, he just looks at me. I stare into his eyes, and all of a sudden, Callie jumps inside of me. She was running in circles, as the light around us got even brighter. I looked behind me at the moon, and it was suddenly at its highest peak, and it looked massive. I felt myself in a trance, almost as if the moon were hypnotizing me. Sarin. I could hear Jasper calling out to me, but I couldn't react to it. My body and mind seemed to be a disconnect, but that's when I knew it was time. I turned back around to face Jasper. Almost as if he read my mind, Jasper immediately shifted into Blade. This was my first time seeing Jasper in wolf form, and he was humongous. I mean, he was a big man as it was, but shifting into what felt like a 15-feet wolf was incredible. Blade was handsome. I reached out and touched his silky black fur, and that one move had Callie purring and prancing. Then another tingling feeling came over me, but it was stronger than before. This was it was the right time, it had to be. I closed my eyes and concentrated on Callie. The moment our minds became one, I felt like I was on fire. I could hear myself scream from the pain of my body readjusting to fit the form of a wolf. I fell over on my hands and knees, and I could feel Callie pushing herself to the surface. I controlled my breathing and let her completely take over. "Don't fight it," I heard Jasper say to me in a mind link. I let go, and all my bones were starting to shift and dislocate. My skin was itchy and burning. I felt a warm body next to me and I knew it was Blade. Jasper was right, his presence really helped because the next thing I knew, I felt myself standing on 4 legs, and felt as if my own mind was a stranger in another body. I watched as Callie opened her eyes, and then I saw it. Pause. "You did it," Jasper said to me. Callie lifted her head, directly at the moon, and she immediately let out heart-pounding howl. A howl that only a powerful alpha wolf could make. It was incredible, to say the least. Even though I was the second mind in this body, I could feel everything she felt, smell everything smelled, heard everything she heard, and could see everything she saw. When she stopped howling, she lowered her head, and then turned to face Blade. I felt our heart skip a beat. What I saw before me wasn't just a handsome wolf. Through Callie's eyes, Blade was the perfect wolf. Full, sleek, and shiny black fur. Each strand visible in our eyes. His eyes were almost a highlighter green but in a beautiful kind of way. His snout was the perfect length, his C.Hest was large, and his body thick, and his legs were long and muscular. Blade was the definition of a sexy wolf, and by the way, Callie's heart was beating, she was in love. "Jasper, what does Callie look like?" I asked through our link. "Why not look for yourself?" he said sweetly, and Blade's head turned towards the stream. Slowly, Callie took her first few steps, a few wobbly steps, but steps, nonetheless. She peeked her head over the bank of the stream, and there she was. I was in awe. I had never seen a wolf in her color before. Callie was pink and her fur glistened in the moonlight, almost as if she were covered in clear glitter. Our eyes were a clear blue, just like a diamond. "Even I have to admit that Callie is one wolf," Jasper said. I could say the same about Blade. I could feel Callie shake her fur, and immediately Blade let out a playful growl. Callie turned to face him and got into a play stance. Blade walked up next to her and nuzzled against her, and the sparks between them were insane. This must be what Callie feels like when I'm in human form. When Blade stood up straight and tall, I realized that there was a big height difference. The top of Callie reached under Blade's shoulders. The difference was just enough for Callie to rub her face into his giant neck, and she let out a small purr. But this wasn't the loving kind of purr, this was the SL kind. Callie was FL, rooting with Blade. She rubbed her body all over his, and then she pped her tail across his nose. Blade reciprocated by sniffing her b.ut. That was the last straw, I made myself scarce and let them have their private moment. Many hours later. Oh, my goddess, I thought you were bad, I say to Jasper as we get dressed. It was about dawn. Blade and Callie ran around non-stop chasing each other, wrestling, and mated like rabbits. Hey, Blade has been waiting as long as I have, longer actually since I got have sex with you first, he replied sscd my temple. Once we were finished getting dressed, we walked hand in hand back to the pack house. So, I wonder how long it will take to determine if I am one those primordial wolves or not. I have no doubt in my mind that you are. I mean, you're a pink wolf. I have never heard of a pink wolf. I thought I was supposed to have powers and abilities. Well, maybe it takes time to get them. There was nothing in the texts that said you would get them right away. Though I do find it weird you don't seem any different. What did you say? I ask him. I didn't say anything. Is it wrong that I'm thinking about X right now? You're thinking about right now? What is up with men and X? I shout at him. What? He stopped and looked at me. Holy, why Sarin is so gorgeous. I think X is in order tonight. Jasper, we are not going to have X tonight. Wait, how did you do? He looked at me again and cd his head to the side. Sarin, can you hear my thoughts? I blinked several times confused out of my mind. Jasper grabbed me by the shoulders and looked me dead in the eyes. Without moving his mouth, I heard his voice, and this was not through the mind link. Sarin, can you hear my thoughts? Oh my God! I can hear your thoughts! I exclaimed. What? Why? Because now my thoughts aren't safe. Pfft! I started to snicker. This is the worst form of privacy invasion, he said grunting. Of all the powers you had to get, I just smiled. I put my arms around his neck. You can't keep secrets from me anymore, sscd his P.S. I wonder if that works on others. No, she can't. Kendrick said. What am I thinking? That you think I'm full of SHT? No, Jason, I don't have other powers that I know of, Milan. No, I haven't done that to Jasper yet, no, Aunt Grace, we're not trying to have pups, yes, Uncle Ronan, my shift went fine. Holy SHT. She can read everyone's thoughts. Sarin, I get that this power may be exciting to have, but be mindful of it. Do not use it for personal gain or against pack members. You don't want to disrespect people by peering into their thoughts. Yes, Uncle Ronan. Although, using it against Jasper to keep in him check would come in handy. Uncle Ronan. You just said not to use my powers for personal gain, and you want me to use them to help you keep Jasper in line. I shout at him. Dad! Jasper exclaimed. Ronan! Grace smacked him in the c.hest. Ah, Ronan grunted. Everyone just laughed. All right, as fun as this is, I'm tired, and it's hella early, Milan said. We're going back to bed, she and Jason got up. I can't wait to Jason's. Don't choke, Milan! I shouted. She gasped and turned around to face me. I gave her a wink. Girl, you're going pay for that. I just smiled and stuck out my tongue. Jasper, we need to keep this under wraps. Having a Luna that hears thoughts may seem cool right now, but it can turn disastrous, especially if pack members feel they can't trust her. I understand, Dad. Sweetheart, try your best to ignore what people are thinking, okay? Grace says. I nod my head. Ronan and Grace leave the office. This is going to be hard, I tell Jasper. I know, baby, but my dad is right. Even if you hear things, try to keep them yourself, unless it's something that is very important, like someone plotting my death. Ha ha ha, okay. Come on, let's go to bed too, I nodded my head. He takes my hand, and we go back to our room. The shifting took a lot of energy out of me, and it was now 6 in the morning. I let out a big yawn. I just want to shove my DCK into her mouth. Jasper. I scream. I don't know how to do stuff like that, I pout. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm a guy, it's how we think. I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want, he hugged me and kissed my forehead. When we got to our room, we both changed, brushed out teeth, and went straight to sleep. 1 week later. Sarin. I heard Milan screaming for me. What? IGR0ANED. I was in the middle of taking a nap on my office couch. I found that this was the one place that I wouldn't be bothered with the thoughts of all the pack members. After having gained my ability to read the thoughts of others, it was getting harder and harder to manage. I could hear people's thoughts every second of every day, and it was making it so that I couldn't sleep. Even in our room, Jasper's thoughts got louder when he slept. At first, I thought having this power would be cool, but it's already getting to be too much. Ugh! There you are! Milan screamed when she found me in my office. We have been looking for you for half an hour. Milan, please stop screaming, I said while forcing myself awake and sitting up. The stylist is here to do your hair, and we're behind schedule, she said and forced me to my feet. Ugh, okay, I'm coming, I replied as she dragged me downstairs and to the spa on the other side of the castle. She basically threw me onto the chair. The stylist wasted no time in getting my hair together. I was trying so hard not to doze off. Wow, her hair is so amazing. I wonder how she keeps it this healthy? The stylist said as she working on the updo that I picked out last week for my Luna ceremony. When she was about halfway done, Milan got started on my makeup, which I honestly wish I didn't have to do because that meant I wouldn't be able to rub my eyes from how sleepy I was. After an hour and a half in the spa, Milan dragged me back through the castle so I could get dressed for the ceremony. I was so exhausted that I hadn't realized what was going on around the castle. Pack members were running around, and it looked like a circus in the main hall. There were decorations still all over the place, and Grace was barking orders at everyone. The entire time all I heard are the inner monologues of pack members who are afraid of doing something wrong, wondering what my dress would look like, and the occasional bitching about how Jasper and I are still together. Come to find out, that it wasn't just Layla and Brigade as Milan calls them that hates the fact Jasper and I are together. Layla still tries mess with me, but now that I can hear her thoughts, it's getting easier to avoid her. Her voice is one voice that I can easily pick out in a crowd. In addition to hearing thoughts, as the ancient text said, my wolf abilities were better than other wolves. My sense of smell was ridiculous, I could literally smell anything and everything from miles away. It actually made eating a little harder because the smell of certain foods was too much, that it made me sick. My sense of hearing was off the charts. Even if I didn't have my power to read thoughts, I could hear the faintest of whispers, so when someone shouted, like Milan was earlier, it sounded 3 times louder than it normally would. My wolf speed was also pretty insane. After shifting for the first time, Jasper and I waited 4 days before we went out so shift again, but this time, we went to an open field, and while we were running, I tapped into my full power of speed, and I outran Jasper, by a lot. Speed is the one thing I have been able to control, while everything I am still learning. Jasper is doing his best to try and help me, and the elders are well. Being young doesn't help either, because overall, even with all the A.B's in the past, the bond between Jasper and me is so strong that my body is fully healed. No scars, no bruises, no remodeled fractures, nothing is wrong with me. The only scar is left, the one from the knife wound that Emma gave me. Why did I agree to a Luna ceremony? IGR0AN as Milan and I make it upstairs to my room. Agree to it? You didn't have a choice, she replied and went into my closet to grab the Luna dress that Grace had custom made for me. It came out just as we wanted. Grace found a picture of my mom on the night of her Luna ceremony, and we had my dress tailor-made to look like hers, but just a little sultrier, and with a train. Ugh, I swear, this dress is to die for, Milan said while taking it out of the garment holder. Just then, Grace came in. Oh, I'm right on time, she said. She forced me out of my clothes and made me quickly wash my body down in the tub. Which I should have done first, but them spending over 30 minutes looking for me made it so that I couldn't. I basically jumped into a tub of cold water, just rinse off any sweat. It honestly felt like I was bathing in the pond at Blood Moon again. Once I was clean, I dried off, put on some body lotion, and they helped me into my dress. It was a long-sleeve royal blue floor-length off-the-shoulder dress with a plunging back. I honestly wasn't sure how Jasper would feel seeing my back completely bare in this way, but when I tried it on for the time, Grace and Milan both said it looked amazing, so I just kept it the way it was. The dress was very form-fitting and made me look drop-dead according to Milan. Oh, you look absolutely amazing, Sarin, Grace said when they finished zipping up the dress. All right, now all we need are shoes, and we are done, Milan says pulling out the new blue flats with Swarovski crystals. Milan, you get dressed too now and I will escort Sarin downstairs to Jasper. Yes, Auntie Grace, Milan leaves the room to quickly get ready. Nervous? Grace asks me. Yes, but I'm honestly just sleepy. The power to read thoughts is making is so I can't sleep. I don't know how to turn it off. It's only been a week, sweetheart, I'm sure with a little more time, you will learn to channel it better. I hope so. Once I was fully ready, Grace escorted me downstairs where Jasper was already waiting. He wearing full black, and I swear to heaven above, he looked even more handsome than ever. His clothes were tight around his muscular frame, almost as if he flexed the wrong way his clothes would just tear off. I didn't know which way I liked him more, dressed to impress, or ached. Dearest, watch where your mind wanders, he says to me and sees my P.S. You look beautiful. Thank you, and you look very handsome. Sarin, I have to warn you. The entire pack is going to be in attendance, all 800 plus members. There is going to be a lot of chatter, and I know you still have trouble shutting your mind off. Keep your mind focused on me and do your best to block others out. Just like putting up a mental block. I'll do my best. If you start to get overwhelmed, just focus on me, okay? I nodded my head. Jasper and I walked hand in hand out back, where a large stage was set up by the back of the castle. Pack members were scattered all over. Some in human form, some in wolf form. And Jasper was right, as soon as we stepped up, everyone's inner thoughts starting going out like alarm bells in my head. If I didn't have a headache before, I sure as hell had one now. I tried my best to block it out, but trying to block hundreds of people was hard. I tried to settle my mind and focused on Jasper as he said. I squeezed his hand, and he squeezed back. Good evening Blue Lake Pack, it is great pleasure that I welcome you all this evening. Tonight is a celebration of joy and unity, as we crown Sarin Calloway as the official Luna of our pack, Ronan announces. He holds out his hand for Jasper and me to join him. Not only is she young, bright, and beautiful, but she is smart, and she is blessed. For those of you who do not know, Sarin is not an ordinary young wolf. Many of you believe that she is an Omega, however, that cannot be further from the truth. The crowd starts to mumble and chatter amongst themselves. The thoughts of others are starting to be overwhelming, but again, I focus on Jasper, and it seems to help. Sir Ronan, we do not understand. If the Luna is not an Omega, then where does she come from? A pack member asked. As many of you know, a little over 8 years, our dear friends of the Iron Hollow pack sadly lost their lives, after their alpha, and one of my best friends lost in a challenge. I see people nodding their heads. Ronan speaking about that night instantly brought tears to my eyes. Ronan spoke to me about this and asked if it was okay with revealing myself to the pack, and I said yes. There was no point in continuing to hide my identity, because, eventually word would get out, and I didn't want the pack to think I was hiding anything from them. Sarin is from Iron Hollow, Ronan announced. The pack gasped, and then everyone fell silent. Even inner thoughts were silent. Sir, are you saying that the Luna is a survivor of the slaughter? Someone asked. She is not only a survivor but the heir to the pack. More gasps. Sarin is the daughter of the late Alpha Gideon and Luna Megan Calloway. Sarin is an Alpha by blood, and Moon Goddess herself blessed my son, your Alpha with her as his Luna, your Luna. Tonight, Sarin will take her rightful place by Jasper's side, and reign with him as your Luna. Ronan turns to the side, and gestures for us to stand center stage and face him. As she steps to the side, and much older gentleman approached us. Sarin Calloway, my name is Elder Hunter. Good evening, Elder Hunter, I say and bow my head. Please place your right hand over your heart. I let go of Jasper's hand, and place it over my heart. Sarin Calloway, do you solemnly swear to abide by our laws, uphold them to the best of your ability? I solemnly promise so to do. Will you use your influence to show support, love, mercy, and understanding to those that look to you for guidance? I solemnly promise so to do. Do you swear to love, cherish, and reign with the Alpha until the end of your days? I solemnly promise so to do. Do you solemnly promise and swear to govern the people of the Blue Lake Pack, according to our laws, and will you in your power cause law, justice, and mercy to be executed in all judgments? I solemnly promise so to do. With my final promise, the hunter brought a golden chalice and a golden knife. Alpha, if you will please step forward. Jasper came up to my left. Both of you, please hold out your right hand. We both did as he said. Hunter took the knife and slit both of our palms. We pressed our 2 palms together, over the chalice, and our blood mixed together. As soon as one droplet of our mixed blood fell into the chalice, I felt a surge of power just flow through. The next thing I knew, the entire pack was freaking out. Jasper and I looked out into the crowd, and then at Ronan. His eyes were wide with shock. What happened? I asked. Sarin, I think you just connected with all 800 plus members of the pack. I looked at Jasper like he was crazy. Even I knew it was impossible to connect with all members of a pack of this magnitude. Blue Lake Pack. I give you, your Luna. Sarin Calloway. Chapter 18. MSP.O.V. Ring 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 ring. Hello. You lying son of asterisk. Andrea, what? Why are you screaming at me? You said Sarin was a low-level Omega. That's because she is. Well, I have news for you, she's not. We just had her Luna ceremony and... Her what? You mean to tell me that piece of SH/T is actually the Luna of your pack? She's not a piece of SH/T, you just thought she was because of your family. What are you talking about? Emma. She's not an Omega. She's the daughter of an Alpha. What? Where the hell did you hear that? Jasper's dad announced it during her ceremony. Come to find out, she's not just any Alpha's daughter, she's the heir to the Iron Hollow pack. You know, the one your dad had killed all those years ago. You're full of SH/T, Andrea. There is no way that little skank is the daughter of an Alpha. Believe whatever you want, Emma, I just thought I would let you know. Rumor has it she was your brother's mate first, so how about going to check with him to see what's true and what isn't? I was about to say something else, but she hung up. There was no way in hell that trailer trash blonde-haired wannabe Barbie was the daughter of an Alpha. I got out of bed and went straight to Ash's office where I knew my dad also was. Ever since Sarin left, I moved back into the pack house into my old room. I didn't even bother knocking. Ash! Dad! I shouted, throwing the door open. Emma! What? Kale growled. Emma! We are in the middle of a meeting, what is the meaning of this? My dad shouted at me. Andrea at Blue Lake just called me, guess what she had to say, I said, crossing my arms. They both look at me perplexed. 1. Sarin had her Luna ceremony, and... Her what? They both exclaimed. I guess I wasn't the only one surprised at this fact. Yeah, that little asterisk actually became the Luna, which means, she and Jasper have mated and marked each other. This can't be happening. Kale roared, slamming his fist on his desk. Guess what else she told me, that I'm having a hard time believing, they look at me again. She said that Sarin is the daughter of an Alpha. They just looked at each other, completely unfazed. Wait, so it's true? And you two knew this whole time? It is true, Emma, but Kale found out the morning of her birthday when he rejected her, and she accepted his rejection. I found out the day after your brother's Alpha ceremony, after Valencia already claimed her, I just scoffed. Is that why you're so obsessed with her? I asked my brother. Why you're so hell-bent on trying to get her back? Because has Alpha blood. I don't care about her pedigree, Emma, he shouts at me. I love Sarin. I love her for who she is. Not for where she comes from. You're just as stupid as Jasper. Who cares where she comes from? Alpha blood or not, Sarin is a worthless piece of SH/T. Silence! Kale roared in his Alpha voice. Making me submit immediately. That little ER. Say one more bad thing about Sarin, and I won't kick you out of the pack house, I will banish you from the pack. Got it? Yes. Yes, what? Yes, Alpha. Get lost. I turn my heel and walk out of his office. I go straight back to my room and slam the door. I couldn't believe it. First Dorian at Desert Moon and now Jasper at Blue Lake. Why are the guys that I want for myself finding mates? And why are they nobodies? Sarin was a slave in our pack house. I'm the daughter of an Alpha too, why can't I find my mate? Jasper's POV. After the announcement of Sarin's Luna TLE, the pack erupted in cheers, howls, growls, and roars of congratulations. I took a knee and acknowledged her as my Luna, my partner, and my equal. The pack followed suit as they're supposed to do. When that was over with, Sarin went back upstairs to change into a robe because she was required to shift into her wolf in front of the pack. Elder Hunter is already aware that she shifted for the first time last week under the full moon, but the rest of the pack does not. Even if it wasn't the law, it was against tradition, but given that Sarin's future as the only living primordial wolf, we had to break it. When she came back and shifted for the first time, to say that the pack was shocked to see a pink wolf with diamond-colored eyes was an understatement. Most pack members were in awe of her uniqueness, but there were a few grumbles which I knew came from every she-wolf I ever slept with over the last several years. I took it as a sign of jealousy because let's be real, what female wolf wouldn't want to be the color pink and have diamond eyes and be the Luna of a pack this size? After she shifted, I shifted into Blade, and we did the traditional pack run. Blade led the way with Callie to his right, Kendrick's wolf Ajax, Jason's wolf Cobalt, to our 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock respectively, Milan's wolf Ivory behind Jason. Everyone else fell in line behind us, and we ran around the territory. We circled the lake and when we came upon the center, we came to a halt. Pack members followed, and soon, we framed the lake. Blade took his stance with Callie by this side. They both lifted their massive heads and howled at the moon. Pack members started to howl as well, and the lake's smooth waters started to ripple from the sound. After all that was said and done, we all went back to the backyard of the castle, and one by pack members either shifted back, and changed, or stayed in wolf form. The feast that was prepared by Mr. and Mrs. Williams and the other kitchen omegas was incredible. After Sarin and I shifted back, we quickly upstairs to change into more comfortable clothing before coming back down to eat ourselves. We sat at the head table while my mother brought us our plates. While we were eating, pack members came by to give their respects to Sarin, but I could tell by her facial expressions, some of them were not sincere. "Are you okay, love?" I asked her. "Yeah, it's just crazy how fake some people can really be," she replied. "I'm sure not everyone likes me either," I tell her. She smiles and I kisses her temple. I can't believe this day is finally here. Sarin was officially my Luna. I had to admit though, I did think it would take a lot longer, and I can't help but think it was a little forced given her being a primordial, but she seemed happy, and that's all that mattered. Alpha, Luna, Michelle came up and gave her respects. Sarin was about to say something when he heard screaming. "Am I too late? Please tell me I'm not too late." I just shook my head. Melody was back, and she missed the ceremony. She came running out back. "I am too late. Melody Valencia. How could you miss your sister-in-law's Luna ceremony?" our mother shouted at her. "Typical Mel," Michelle said. Always fashionably late, Michelle bowed her head and walked away. Melody came running up to us. "I'm so sorry. Traffic was getting here, and then I had a flat tire that took an hour to fix, and that was, ugh," she was trying to catch her breath. "I am so sorry I missed your Luna ceremony, Sarin." "It's okay, you don't control traffic, and you had a flat that no one could have predicted would happen," Sarin replied and smiled. "Whew, okay, now that I know my new sister isn't mad at me," Melody turned to me. "Big brother. Congrats on finally finding your destined mate." I stood up and as she came around the table and gave her a big brotherly hug. "I'm glad you're home, Dot." "Ugh. Don't call me that any," she stops and gasps. Her eyes go black and she ps her head around. "Dot, are you okay?" I ask her. What's wrong with her? Sarin asks. I grab Melody's shoulder, and then I saw her eyes lock onto to something, and then the next word out of her mouth almost made me lose my sh-t. Mate. Kendrick's POV. I was coming out of the pack house after having needed to use the restroom. I came out to the crowd of people and was eyeing a few unmated she-wolves, were eyeing me back. But in the corner of my eye, I saw my brother Keaton, and his baby mama, arguing, yet again. I just shook my head. I felt for my baby brother, I really did. Poor guy got trapped by Sarin because apparently, she lied about being on the pill. Even though werewolves didn't use contraception all that often, it wasn't completely unheard of, so my brother fell for it, and didn't use a condom. I shook my head in pity for him and walked off. As I was making my rounds to tables greeting pack members, 2 she-wolves came up to me and started to paw at me. I was trying to decide which one I was going to take to my room, perhaps both, when the sweetest smell hit me. In a matter of a millisecond, these she-wolves meant nothing to me, and I pushed them away. I started to follow the scent, and then in the clearing, I saw someone at Jasper's table. She had medium-length light brown hair with silver highlights, and she seemed to be almost as small as the Luna. I didn't recognize her from behind. I slowly walked towards Jasper's table. Who was this girl? Why did she smell hot chocolate on a cold winter's night? I didn't care why, I only cared about the who at this point. I saw her stiffen, and I stopped dead in my tracks. She could sense me. Then, as if everything were in slow motion, she pped her head around, ping her beautiful hair, and then I saw her face. Oh! Melody's POV. Ugh! I cannot believe how late I am. I shout to myself as I'm driving like a madwoman through the mountains. I couldn't believe it when Mom called me, and she said that Jasper found his mate. I was so excited for him. What blew my mind even more is when she told me that it was Sarin, my god sister that we all thought had died. It was seriously a miracle. I was over 2 hours late to the ceremony, and I knew I had missed everything. Mom and Dad were going to LOL me for missing such an important ceremony. First TTY traffic, then a flat tire. This was the worst impression to make on Sarin. I finally saw the gate, the territory, and honked for the guards to let me in. It's Melody. Open the gate. I shouted out the window. The gates opened and I sped through. I tried to get through the villages as fast as I could without crashing. You're going to get both of us, LOLED. Stop distracting me, Tundra. When I finally pulled up the castle, I skidded to a halt and jumped out of the car. I yelled at the guard to put it in the garage and tossed him the keys. I saw him roll his eyes, shake his head, and smile. I ran through the castle and just started to scream. Am I too late? Please tell me I'm not too late. I shouted through the castle while making my way to the backyard. Then I saw everyone eating. I am too late. I wanted to cry. I missed the ceremony and the pack run. Ugh, I am the worst little sister. Melody Valencia. How could you miss your sister-in-law's Luna ceremony? My mother shouted at me. I ignored her and saw Michelle walk away from the main table. I ran right up to Jasper and Sarin. I'm so sorry. Traffic was getting here, and then I had a flat tire that took an hour to fix, and that was, ugh. I explain myself while breathing really fast. I am so sorry I missed your Luna ceremony, Sarin, I tell her while giving her the saddest and most apologetic face. It's okay, you don't control traffic, and you had a flat that no one could have predicted would happen, Sarin replied and smiled. Whew, okay, now that I know my new sister isn't mad at me, I turned to Jasper. Big brother. Congrats on finally finding your destined mate. I ran around the table and he gave me a h.ug big brother h.ug. Ugh, I missed his h.ugs. I'm glad you're home, not the stupid nickname again. Ugh. Don't call me that any, I stop mid-sentence when the most amazing scent fills my nostrils. It smelled like Skittles, or was it Starburst? Are you okay? I hear Jasper ask, but I completely ignore him and focus on this fruity scent. I pee my head around and make eye contact with the last person I expected to see standing there, staring right back at me. What's wrong with her? I hear Sarin ask. Jasper grabs my shoulder. All of a sudden Tundra says. Mate, I couldn't believe it. Kendrick Neslany, my brother's best friend, and beta of our pack, was my mate. I didn't know what to do. I've known Kendrick since I was a kid, but I never expected him to be my mate. I was about to go up to him when two she-wolves from our pack went up to him first and started to paw at him. I just scoffed. Figured, the man WH0 of the pack was still a man WH0. I turned my head and faced Jasper, tears unknowingly filled my eyes. I looked up at him, and he immediately knew. His eyes turned black in anger and he turned to face Kendrick. Melody, what's wrong? Sarin asked. Kendrick is my mate. Wah, she looked over my shoulder and saw what I saw. Oh, I didn't even stick around to see what my brother would do. I ran away into the pack house. Melody, wait! I heard Kendrick yell out, but I didn't want to. Why did I have to be mated to the pack house man slut? I ran upstairs to the second floor where my room was and just slammed the door, locking it. Kendrick's POV. I couldn't believe my eyes. Melody Valencia was my mate. Could the moon goddess have given a more perfect mate? I think not. I always found her to be attractive, but she is Jasper's baby sister, so I never pursued her. Never in my wildest dreams did I think Melody would be my destined mate. When we made eye contact, my heart stopped beating. She was even more perfect than I remember. Her petite stature, her small yet XY frame, her light brown hair with silver highlights, her beautiful teal eyes, B.N nose, rosy cheeks, and Sybil L. P.S. At that moment, she owned my entire soul. I was about to go to her and claim her, but the two she-wolves from before wrapped their arms around me and started to paw at me again. No, 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 I thought to myself. I looked up at Melody again and she scoffed. I saw the hurt flash in her eyes. No. She faced Jasper, and he immediately turned to me, his eyes black with anger. I'm a dead man. He comes stomping towards me, when I see Sarin talk to Melody, then Melody took off running back into the pack house. Melody, wait! I yell after her and push the she-wolves off of me. Before I could even take one step to run after my mate, Jasper stepped in front of me and growled. Kendrick, you and I need to have a talk. Ah! OSH! I scream as Jasper throws me into the wall of his office. Jasper, calm down. Jason says, trying to stop him from killing me. 2 minutes. Jasper snarls. It took you all of 2 minutes to break my sister's heart. I didn't mean to. I swear, man. Those she-wolves came out of nowhere. I defend myself. Though I was rooting with them before I realized Melody was my mate. You just admitted to rooting with them. Sarin shouted. Sarin. Don't read my thoughts. I shouted at her with betrayal in my voice. Her powers. And it was before I knew Melody was my mate. I defended myself again before Jasper decided to throw me against another wall. Where is he? I heard Ronan's voice. Oh, this was not good. He threw the door open, and his eyes were also black as night. Kendrick Neslany! He roared. Oh God, please Uncle Ron, ah! He threw me against the other wall I was hoping to avoid. Honey, don't lol him. Aunt Grace said, stopping him from throwing me again. Aunt Grace, I'm fine, I. Slap. Ow! I hold my cheek and look at her. Aunt Grace has the worst slaps in the world. She may be small, but she packs quite the punch. You guys, I swear, I didn't mean for that to happen. Kendrick, what did I tell you about sleeping around? Jasper shouted. I know, man, I've cut back, but I won't deny that I was going to take those two she-wolves to my room, but then Melody's scent my got attention, and those thoughts were gone, they were finished, finite, non-existent. Why didn't you push them away faster, you? Milan shouted at me. It all happened so quickly, I didn't have time to react, I replied, rolling my neck and holding my lower back. Thank God for rapid healing. Come on, you guys know I would never hurt Mel, she's family, and now she's my mate. Only if she accepts you, Ronan says to me. Please, you guys, help me win her over. I want to be with her. What makes you think I want you to be with my baby sister? Jasper, you can't interfere with the mate bond, Grace says to him. It's not up to you to decide, it's up to Melody. I care about her, everyone in this room knows that, I plead. I didn't expect this to happen, let alone tonight of all nights, but I promise, I'm going to love her. I've always been attracted to her, even when we were younger, but I never pursued her. Why? Sarin asks. Seriously? She's Jasper's baby sister, Sarin. No man ever pursues their best friend's baby sister, I reply to her. Sarin just puckers her L.P.S. and nods. Is it wrong for me to say that I can hear her right now? Sarin said. What? We all ask. I can hear her thoughts, it's pretty strong, along with everyone in this castle. What is she thinking, dearest? Jasper asks her. She squints hers and scrunches her face, trying to concentrate. Why the man slut? Pfft. Jason and Milan try to hold in their laughter. I growl at them. She's also saying, or rather thinking, should I reject? Sarin stops what she's saying and presses her L.P.S. together. She wants to reject me. I ask. I feel my heart starting to break. No, she can't, I want to be with her. Guys, help me prove to her that I can change, please. I beg everyone, even Ronan and Grace. How about Sarin and I go talk to her? Milan suggests. They both get up and leave Jasper's office. Please, Moon Goddess, please let them get through to her. Chapter 19. Melody's POV. Why? Why the man slut? I think to myself. It could have been anyone else in this pack, and it had to be Kendrick Neslany. Moon Goddess, is this sick joke? I shout to the ceiling of my room. I grab my hair and just grunt in frustration. I finally finish school and come home to congratulate my brother and Sarin, and I'm given my mate, and of all the wolves in the world, it was him. Kendrick, the one guy I wished would pay attention to me growing up but never did. At first, I thought it was some kind of honor code amongst brothers, but that rationale went out the window when I saw him making out with Jason's sister Tasha when he was 17 and I was 15. Since then, Kendrick has been with goddess only knows how many girls, and rumor has it, he did threesomes a lot, and it made me sick. But even then a part of me always felt drawn to him. I expected him to find his mate as soon as he turned 18, but he didn't. It was crazy. The only person out of my brother's group of friends who found their mate at 18 was Jason. Milan is a few months older than he is, so she knew right away Jason was her mate. She even broke up with her longtime boyfriend to be with Jason, and that did not bode over well. Maybe I should just reject him. I think to myself. It would save me the heartache of being with a player who would probably end up cheating on me anyway. You have the worst attitude, you know that? Come on, Tundra, you're not actually thinking about accepting him, are you? Why not? He's yummy. Tundra had a point, Kendrick was in fact yummy. He was 6'2", curly black hair that was always kept in a shaggy style, blue eyes, thick brows, facial hair that made him look rugged, but in a SE*XY kind of a way, an LPS that just scream SS me. Ugh, why does he have to so good looking? As I was having an inner monologue with myself, there was a knock on my door. I get up and go open it. Hey, Mel, I see Sarin and Milan. I move out of the way for them to come in. How are you holding up? Sarin asks. Like SHT, I responded coldly. I mean, seriously? Why him of all people? I shout and throw my hands up. So, what are you going to do about it? Milan asks. I don't know, I slump and pout. I feel like you're making this harder than it is, Sarin says. You either want to be with Kendrick or you don't. That's easy for you to say, you're mated to my brother. No, it wasn't easy for me, Melody, you brother rescued me from a life of abuse, torment, and neglect. It took me almost a week to decide if I wanted to accept him. I only did because he reminded me that we met when I was a child, that memory is why I accepted him. Kendrick is the biggest man-slut there is in this pack, I tell her. Your brother was no saint either before he found me. I even had the displeasure of dealing with an ex of his, who I'm sure is still trying to plot my death right about now. Who? I exclaim. No one messes with my family and gets away with it. Not important right now. My point is, I gave Jasper a chance to gain my trust and acceptance, and I think you should do the same for Kendrick. Sarin is right, Mel. Don't use his past against him that way, it's not fair. You're no saint either. You've slept around too, Milan says. I don't have threesomes the way he does. He's a dominant male wolf, girl, what did you expect, she replies. Melody, the moon goddess has her reasons for mating you with Kendrick, at least give him the respect to explain himself to you. If after that you still don't want to be with him, then reject him, and hopefully, the moon goddess will be willing to give you a second chance, Sarin says. How the hell is she only 18? Mel, just talk to him. He feels horrible for what happened downstairs, Milan added. Ugh, fine, they both smile. Milan's eyes glaze over, and I'm pretty sure she mind-linked Kendrick to come to talk to me. After a few minutes, there is a knock on my door. I just sit on my bed pondering if I want to open it or not. Mel, you said you would talk to him, Milan said, pulling my arm to make me stand. We all go to the door, and lo and behold, Kendrick is standing at my door. Milan and Sarin smile at both of us and give us some privacy. Kendrick. Hey, dot. Ugh, enough with the nickname. I shout. Jasper and his nickname. May I come in? I look at him a moment and think if I want him in my room. I open the door a little bit more and gesture for him to come in. I close the door behind him, and before I can even say one word, Kendrick pins me my door, lifting me up by my legs and holds my arms above my head. Kendrick. What? Don't you ever, run away from me again, he growls. He didn't sound angry though, he sounded, almost, hurt. Kendrick, before I could say anything else, he puts his face into my neck and inhales deeply. Melody, I want to be with you, please, Angel, please don't run away from me, he pleaded. The sorrow in his voice was pulling on my heartstrings. Ken, put me down, we need to talk. We can talk, but I'm not putting you down, I need to hold you. Ken, I don't know if I can accept you. No. Please, Melody, don't reject me, I'm begging you. His voice cracked a little bit, and then I felt a wee asteriskness on my neck and shoulder. Was he crying? Melody, I've always been attracted to you, but I never pursued it because you're Jasper's sister. But, you made out with Tasha, I heard you even slept with her. What? He lifted his head. I never slept with Tasha, that's just wrong. But, I saw you kiss her. When? 7 years ago, he gave me a look of confusion, and I could see him thinking. Wait, was this in the recreation room? I nodded. Angel, I wasn't kissing Tasha, she was kissing me. She was on your lap, Kendrick. She was, and that's because it was a dare that Layla had put her up to. What? Why? I honestly have no idea. 1 minute we were all just hanging out having fun and playing games, when Tasha just straddled me and started to kiss me. I pushed her off as soon as she did, but I'm assuming you saw just a few seconds it was happening, I was so confused. Then why does everyone think you guys slept together? Who did you hear that from? Tasha, he just gave me a look and lifted a brow. Oh. Angel, I never slept with any of those girls, let alone Tasha, not only because she's Jason's sister, but also because I never saw her that way, he replied and let my arms go. I just put my hands on his shoulders. He really wasn't going to put me down. He put his face back into the crook of my neck and inhaled again. You smell so good, he mumbled. I gulped. I couldn't deny he smelled good too. What about all the other girls that you've slept with? All those ménage à trois you had? Look, I won't deny that I had a very open life, and yes, I have been with a lot of girls, and yes, I have had threesomes, but those days are done now. There is only she-wolf in the entire world I want to be with, and that's you. It's always been you. I've wanted to be with you for as long as I can remember, but I couldn't. Because of Jasper. Yeah, it's an agreement that we had growing up. We never slept with or did anything with anyone's sisters, but the Tasha thing, that happened because of her, not because of me. Jason knew that it was a dare orc.hest rated by Layla, which is why he never k-led me. What about those two bitches from downstairs? Bad timing, I c'd my head and lifted my brow. Seriously, it was just really bad timing. I was rooting with them when I came out back after having used the bathroom, and I won't lie, I was going to sleep with one or both of them, but then, I caught your scent, and that was it. I pushed them away, and I found my way to you. His eyes when he was speaking was so sincere, and I could tell he was telling the truth. Seeing the hurt in your eyes that split second, I felt like the biggest it. I should have reacted quicker, but I was caught off guard by them flanking me. So, why didn't you run after me? I tried to, but Jasper stopped me. He actually threw me against the wall in his office about 30 minutes ago, and so did your dad, and your mom slapped me. Oh my gosh, are you okay? I asked with real concern. I'm fine, it hurt but I'm alive. We looked into each other's eyes, and I bit the inside of my cheek to see if there an ounce of dishonesty, but there wasn't. Kendrick may be a player, but he's not a liar. He never has been. Please, Melody, don't reject me, baby, I want to be with you. Ugh, why? Was this so hard? His eyes, his beautiful blue eyes, and his shaggy hair, his gorgeous face, it was so hard to fight the attraction. Stupid mate bond. Before I could even give him a response, I felt him kiss my neck, and instantaneously, I let out a M0AN. He took that as a sign of approval and kept doing it. My breathing started to get heavy and erratic, and I could feel a sudden hardness against my pelvis. I combed my fingers through his shaggy curls, and they were so soft. Kendrick, IM0ANED. I wanted to keep going, but I knew better. I didn't want him, at least not yet. Kendrick, stop, I tried to protest, but his C's on my neck were making my brain turn to mush. I heard him M0AN, as he started to rub his hardened shaft against my C0RE. God, this felt so good but so wrong at the same. This needed to stop, if it didn't, I was going to give in to him. Kendrick, stop, I pushed him away and forced him to put me down. Mel. I can't do this, not right now, I need time to think. The hurt that flashed across his eyes broke my heart. But I needed time, I needed to think if I really wanted to be with him. Please, I opened the door indicating that I wanted him to leave. His face saddened, and he reluctantly went to walk out the door. Melody, I'm not giving up, he says softly and leaves. Why did you stop him? Because Tundra, I need time to think. I don't know if I can be with someone who has slept with half the girls in the pack. You're not a virgin either. Yet, but I don't sleep with multiple people at the same time. And I've had less than 10 partners since I was 16, Kendrick has been with dozens. But he is our mate, and he wants us. I know that, but this isn't just about being mates. I need to know if I can fully trust him with my heart. After his little stunt with kissing my neck, I needed to take a cold shower. I could only imagine what actually kissing him would do. I shook the thoughts away, and went to take shower. Kendrick's POV. I just stood outside of Melody's room for a few minutes. I was hurting so much when she basically insinuated that she didn't want me. Was this the SHT that Jasper wanted me to be careful about? Was this my punishment for sleeping around all the time? If it is, then this hurts more than being thrown into a wall. I figured it would be best to just go back downstairs to the party and drink away my sorrows. When I headed back downstairs, my bad dream turned into a nightmare. Those two she-wolves were waiting for me. Beta, where have you been? We've been waiting for you, one of them said. Beta, we're ready to pleasure you until the sun comes up, the other added in. Had this been 3 hours ago, I would be all for it, but now, thinking of doing anything with anyone other Melody was making me sick to my stomach. Get your hands off of me, I push both them away. They both look stunned. Don't ever touch me again, I push past both of them, and back outside to the backyard and start downing all the alcohol I could find. Bro, you okay? Keaton asks, putting a hand on my shoulder. No, I'm not okay, I tell him honestly. What's wrong? I found my mate. That's a good thing, isn't it? He asks, seeing that I'm not excited. It would be if she wasn't contemplating rejecting me. What? Why would she do that? Who is it? It's Melody. What? Melody? As in Melody Valencia, Jasper's sister. Yes, and she hates me. She's questioning my love for her because of how I am or was. Bro, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that it all works out. Melody is awesome, and you are too. You and I, we inged up in many ways, and now I guess we're having to pay the price, he says. I know he's referring to the fact that he's stuck with that Sarin. If she wasn't before, she sure is now. 2 months pregnant and hormonal as. A girl can't even look at Keaton without her blowing SHT out of proportion. I just need to find a way to prove to her that those days are done now. I only need her, I only want her, I tell him. Give it time, Ken, I'm sure once she has time to think it over, and you prove your loyalty, you can gain her trust. Don't give up, there is still hope for you. Is Dad still hellbent on you rejecting your mate if you ever find her? Yeah, Aunt Grace is trying her best to get him to change his mind, and that just because I got Sarin pregnant doesn't justify me having to be with her. I can easily do the joint custody thing, but I don't want to be with her, I don't love her, I never have. She was a booty call, and she's a lying skank who just trapped me for her own greed. Excuse me, betas, a young she-wolf said, squeezing behind us. Sorry about that, Keaton apologizes, and like the witch she is, Sarin pops up out of nowhere and starts to raise hell on the poor girl who just squeezed past us. Why are you talking to my mate? He's off limits. Get away from him, the younger she-wolf is about to cry. She only looked to be about 15 or 16. Sarin. What was completely uncalled for? Keaton shouts at her. She was trying to FLRT with you. You're mine. And every skank in this pack better stay away from you. Sarin, she was just trying to get a drink and we were in her way, I tell her. Please, don't make excuses for her, Kendrick. She's a slut, just like every other she-wolf here. You're the one to talk. Milan shouted. How dare you speak to your beta that way? Apologize now, she commanded. I don't have to. I'm also a ranked member. Sarin, let's get one thing straight, just because you're pregnant with Keaton's pup does not make you a ranked member. You are not his mate or his wife. You do not have the right to be disrespectful to other pack members, let alone your official ranked members. I will not hesitate to put you in your place, and now apologize to the beta, and the young pack member. Sarin turns her head and just walks away. Why that little? Milan, enough, I stop her. Ugh, I swear, if that wasn't pregnant I'd kick her from here into the next millennium, Keaton, and I just smile. Sweetie, are you okay? She asks the young she-wolf who was still standing there scared out of her mind. Yes, Gamma, I think so, she says softly. What's your name? I ask her. My name is Irene, beta. Irene, how old are you? I'm 17, but I will be 18 in 1 week. Wow, you look a lot younger, Keaton says to her. She smiles at him sweetly. I want to apologize on her behalf, she's hormonal. It's okay, beta Keaton, I understand. But, what did the Gamma mean by her not being your mate? It's a long story, but short version, I got her pregnant because I was stupid, and now I'm stuck with her, Irene cd'd her head to the side and made a funny face. Irene, everything okay? Milan asked. Oh yes, I'm sorry, it's just I find it weird the young beta was able to get a wolf that wasn't his mate pregnant, that's almost unheard of. Yeah, but not impossible, as you can see, Keaton responds pointing in the direction Tareen walk off in. I'm sorry you're stuck with someone as mean as her beta Keaton. What will happen when you do find your mate? Well, I'm being told I have to reject her, but I'm honestly trying to find a way out of that. Oh, that's too bad. You seem like a nice guy and you deserve to be with your mate. I hope that you don't find her, that way you both can be spared the heartache, Irene says with the utmost sincerity. Well, I should go back, my mom. It was nice talking to all of you, and thank you for sticking up for me. She takes her drink and walks away. I look back at Keaton, and he's just staring at Irene. Keaton, you good? I ask him. Hey? What? Keaton, why were you staring at her like you wanted to eat her just now? Milan asked. Her maturity just threw me off a bit. I mean, most girls her age would write back and start a fight, but she just stood there and took it, he replied. You know that Irene girl had a valid point, Milan said. We both look at her. Keaton, are you sure that pup is yours? Milan, why are you asking him that? I ask. Well, given the way she's constantly on a jealous rampage and attacks any poor female in our pack, I get the feeling that she's also the type to lie about you being the father. She lied about the being on the pill, so I wouldn't put it past her, but based on how far along she is, and when we had sex, the timing lines up, Keaton responds. Still, I wouldn't put past her to fake the paternity of her pup. Just watch out for yourself, Milan says and walks away. Little brother, I guess we're both having women issues now. That was something I never thought I would say. Chapter 20. Jasper's POV. Ugh. Why can't people shut their minds off? Sarin shouted while lying in bed with me. After the whole fiasco with Melody, and everyone just going on and on about who Sarin actually is, their thoughts were piling in at 1,000,000 miles a minute, and she was getting the worst migraine. Sarin, you need to try and block it out, I say to her. That's easy for you to say. You don't have to hear everyone's inner thoughts all the time. Sarin, sit up, I force her to sit. I know it must be difficult, but I know you can do it. You wouldn't be who you are if you weren't meant for this. Now, stop whining, close your eyes, and take a deep breath, she scowled at me and did it anyway. Good, one more, she took in another deep breath. Now, try and concentrate. It's just like what we did when you were overwhelmed by all smells in the city. Okay. Take a few voices, and picture yourself just putting them into a soundproofed box, she nodded. Once you do, take a few more and do the same. Keep adding more voices as you go, until the only voice you can hear is mine. I watched as she keeps taking deep breaths, and her face was scrunching every so often. You could almost see the T0RTURE of all the voices in her mind starting to dissipate. Over the course of about 15 minutes, Sarin's face completely still and relaxed. It was almost as if she were sleeping. I waited for a little more until I saw her entire body relaxed. Sarin, if you can hear my voice, squeeze my hand. I waited a few seconds, and she gave a light squeeze. Concentrate on my voice, follow it. Put all the other voices away. After a few more minutes, Sarin opened her eyes and smiled. You good, she smiled and then nodded. Then out of nowhere, she punched my arm. Ow, what was that for? You couldn't have done that sooner? I've been sleep deprived for days, Jasper. I couldn't help but laugh. 1 minute she could be mature and kick, the next minute, she was back to her young whiny self. I pulled her into ah.ug and she just grumbled. I laid us down and pulled her close. Try and get some sleep, I softly tell her, and she nods. She nuzzled her face into my c.hest, and before I knew it, she was knocked out. I was about to fall asleep when I got a mind link from my sister. Jasper? Is everything okay? No, I can't sleep because of this whole mate thing. I could really use your advice. Give me about 10 minutes, Sarin just fell asleep, and I don't want to wake her by moving. Okay. After several minutes passed, Sarin was lightly snoring, which meant she was out for the count. With her lack of sleep the last few days, I was sure that she wouldn't wake up until the afternoon tomorrow. I carefully untangle myself from her and make my way to Melody's room. Hey, open the door, I call out to her. The door opens almost immediately, and she lets me in. Talk to me. I think I'm going to reject Kendrick. What? Jasper, I don't think I can accept someone like him as my mate. Why? Because he slept around a lot. Yet. Melody, that's a load of horse sh, and you know it. That's also unfair to him because you're not a virgin either. I didn't sleep with half the pack as he did. Are you going to stand there and tell me that you didn't sleep with a bunch of guys while away at college? She didn't say anything. I didn't think so. You're supposed to be on my side with this, she whines. I'm on no one's side when it comes to this. You can't base your decision to reject Kendrick because he's a man wh0 especially when you're not a virgin either. It's hypocritical, Mel, she pouts and crosses her arms. I let out a sigh. Look, I know having Kendrick for a mate may seem unconventional, and potentially can lead to some drama, but you're an alpha's daughter, and he's the beta. He's immature at times, yes, but he's a great person with a big heart. I think you'd be lucky to have him. Shouldn't you say he'd be lucky to have me? No, because I know how you are. You prank people for fun and you're feisty as. Having you for a mate is going to be Kendrick's worst nightmare, which is why I'm all for it. You're such an s.sh0le. I know I am, and I tell you how it is, which is why you wanted my advice. She stuck her tongue out at me. He wants you and quit trying to play like you don't want him back. I can smell him all over you. You can? But I showered. Yeah, that's not going to be enough, she scoffs and rolls her eyes. I chuckle and open my arms. She leans in for ah.ug and IKSS the top of her head. Give him a chance, he might surprise you. Okay. I go back to my room and see that Sarin is completely sprawled out on the bed. Her mouth is wide open, and there is actually drool spilling out the side of her mouth. I couldn't help but laugh at the sight before me. I decide to snap a photo to use as blackmail later. I get back in bed and just let her sleep that way. Melody's POV. When I woke up the next morning, I decided I would go find Kendrick, and tell him I'd give him a chance to prove himself. Since it was Sunday, there was no early morning training, so I figured I'd go up to his room. As I ascended up to the 4th floor, I could smell his scent everywhere. This entire floor belonged to him, so only his scent and that of a few omegas that cleaned this floor could be sensed. His room is at the very end of the wing, and as I'm walking down the corridor, his bedroom door opens, and out came a girl. I'm just standing there, completely baffled. I look closer and I realize that it's Layla. I scoff at the sight before me. I'm about to turn around when I hear Kendrick's voice. Stay out of my room. You're the last person I would ever sleep with. Just because you got Jasper to you doesn't mean I'm going to. Then he slammed his door. Did he just say Layla slept with my brother? That. I had one rule, that was to stay the hell away from my brother. You're going to regret denying me. I'm better than anyone in this pack house, she shouts. She grabs her clothes and turns around, and then sees me down the hall. She immediately smirks and struts over to me. Hi, Mel, it's nice to have you back, she says while putting her clothes on. Layla, why are you up here? Let alone in the pack house. Oh, Ken and I had a little fun last night. This had no idea that I heard what Kendrick said. Really? Then, why don't I smell him on you? Her face immediately flustered because she knows I caught her in a lie. I took a shower, she answers. You did? Yeah, I mean, I can't have everyone knowing that the beta and I are a couple now. This girl was delusional and stupid. You think that just because you had sex with Kendrick, doesn't mean you guys are a couple? You know who you're talking about, right? Kendrick Neslany. He doesn't do relationships, forget that, she's lying straight out of her ass. Everyone who's anyone knows that Kendrick doesn't settle. Well, he's going to change his ways for me. He even told me he loved while we made love. Did he now? Are you sure he wasn't thinking about someone else? Who else would there be to think about, she said with a quiet tude. I'm the yes she-wolf in the pack. All guys want me, which is too bad for them since I belong to the beta now. You're not even his mate, Layla. So, I'll probably be better looking than her anyway. I mean, look at me, I'm near perfect. Why did I ever become friends with this girl? Kendrick has definitely got to be best I've ever had. I mean, what he can do with his L.P.S. and his tongue, mmmmm, I seriously wanted to gag at what she did just now. Though she did have a point, Kendrick can do wonders with his L.P.S. But the fact that she was making up SHT was ridiculous. I decided to play into her lies, to see if I could get her to admit with sleeping with Jasper. So, how good was he exactly? I ask. As I said, the best I've ever had. He just knows how to please a woman, but only the right woman can please him. No wonder none of the other sluts he's banged ever lasted. But when we made love, oh my god, he just, ugh, the sounds that came out of both of our mouths were euphoric, to say the least, she said so effortlessly. This was a professional liar and she just knew what to say to get people to believe her. You said he's the best. Uh-huh. Even better than my brother. Most definitely better than your. So, you did sleep with my brother. I roared, making her gasp and jump back. I had one rule. One rule. And that was to stay away from Jasper. I shouted, stepping towards her and her taking a few steps back. What did you do? What do you mean what did I do? My brother would never willingly sleep with you, Layla. He knew to stay away from my friends. So that means you coerced him into it. What did you do? I repeated. I didn't do jack SHT. I gave him what he wanted. Which was me. He would never want you. I know my brother and his taste in women. You are the furthest thing from what he finds attractive. I was seething in anger. It was bad enough that she just tried to sleep with Kendrick, but the fact that she actually did sleep with my brother was making me see red. I knew Jasper, he would never do it on his own. He would have to be. Did you drug him? I roared. It was the only thing that made sense. I did no such thing, she defended, a little too aggressively. You did, didn't you? You drugged my brother and manipulated him into sleeping with you. You have your wires crossed. Jasper wanted me, so I gave him my virginity last year. But instead of taking responsibility for taking my purity, he pretended as if I didn't exist. Take responsibility? Are you kidding me? You just said that you gave him your virginity. He didn't take it. You willingly opened your chicken legs and gave it to him. It's not like he got you pregnant either, so why would he need to take responsibility? Because that's what an alpha is supposed to do. If he took my virginity, he should have made me his Luna. Where do you get off on saying something like that? You weren't his mate. That doesn't matter. Your brother always said he wanted his Luna to be pure. Which I was. I was pure. I gave him exactly what he was looking for. You're so delusional. My brother slept with you because you were easy. You're not the first virgin he's ever slept with, Layla. If he didn't make those bitches the Luna, why would that be any different with you? Because I'm better than all of them. She screamed. I'm the obvious choice for Luna of this pack. I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, and everyone loves me. You wish everyone loved you. I deserve to be the Luna. Not that orphaned rogue piece of SHT trash that Jasper picked up off the streets. Oh, she did not just talk about Sarin that way. Sarin is not a rogue. I roared. She's the daughter of an alpha. No, she's not. She's full of SHT. And everyone in this pack is stupid as for believing all those lies your dad said at the ceremony last night. Sarin is nothing. Sarin is a nobody. She's worthless and she will never be able to do what a real Luna is supposed to do. If you're so into Jasper, then why bother sleeping with Kendrick? Because I need to make Jasper jealous. If he sees me with his best friend, his beta, then he will want me back. Goddess, you're so full of SHT, Layla. Quit lying. You didn't sleep with Kendrick. I watched him kick you out of his room and tell you off. She glared at me when she realized I caught her in her lie. Kendrick would never sleep with you, so I don't know why you even tried. Because no man can resist me. Get off of your high horse, Layla. You're a nobody. You open your legs for anyone willing to give you some DCK. No wonder you don't have a mate. It's not like you have one. I do actually. What? I have a mate, Layla, and I was actually on my way to tell him that I accept him. If that's true, then why are you on this floor? Because my mate lives on this floor. Her eyes when she realized who I was talking about bulged out of their sockets and turned black with rage and jealousy. I was about to say something else when Kendrick's door opened. Melody, what did you just say? I looked past Layla, and Kendrick was shirtless. God, his body was pure perfection. If I had to compare his body to anyone, it would have to Tyler Hoechlin. Hell, he even kind of looked like him, only with shaggy hair. But Kendrick was a tad bit better looking. I said that I accept you, I repeat myself to him. The smile that formed his face was so genuine and happy, that it actually made my heart skip a beat. What? You're his mate? Layla shouted. Yes, now move out of my way, I said, shoving her out of my way. I leaped into Kendrick's arms and planted a kiss on his LPS. His LPS were even softer and plumper than I imagined. And his taste, God, his taste, it was so sweet and delicious. I would have been an IT if I were to have rejected him. I don't think any guy could taste this sweet. Ah! Layla screamed. We both looked back at her, and if she were a cartoon, there would be smoke coming out of her ears. She stormed off cursing the entire way down the stairs. I just shake my head. I turn back to face Kendrick, and he still has the biggest smile on his face. What? Please tell me this isn't a dream, he says. It's not, I smile back. I didn't expect you to make up your mind so quickly. I talked to Jasper last night, and he gave me some advice that gave me a little perspective. Kendrick cd'd his head to the side. He made me realize that I wasn't being fair to you. I was using your history as a man wh0 as a reason to reject you, but in all fairness, I'm not pure either. I've had my fair share of guys and, when I said that, his grip around me tightened and he growled. I just rolled my eyes. And I realized that I was being hypercritical. I know you, and I know that you would never hurt me, at least not on purpose. I could never hurt you. I know, and I believe you. Though, when I first came up here and saw Layla coming out of your room, I almost changed my mind, but then I heard what you said, and it made me realize that you're taking this mate thing seriously, more seriously than I was. Look, I know my past with women isn't all that great, but the moment I realized you were my mate, all that SHT was in the past. My present and my future are all about you now. Ugh, please stop using that nickname, IGR0AN. Never, it suits you, I roll my eyes. Without saying another word, Kendrick carries me into his room and locked the door. He gently lays me down on the bed and just lays down next to me. I instinctively snuggle close to him. We share a passionate kiss, and then fall asleep in each other's arms. When I woke up a few hours later, I realized that I was alone. I sat up really quick and found that I was in fact in Kendrick's room. Okay, it wasn't a dream, I said out loud to myself. I got out of the bed and went into the restroom, but he wasn't there, and he wasn't in his closet. I stood there wondering he would have gone. I was about to mind link him when his door suddenly opened. I looked at him and he was carrying a tray of food on a small table that had a small vase with a yellow daisy in it. I was hoping to make it back before you woke up, he said and closed his door. What is this? I asked. I figured I would bring you breakfast in bed. I bit my bottom lip and immediately blushed at his romantic gesture. Come on, he gestured his head for me to get back in bed. I climbed in and he put the small table over my legs. I looked down and saw red velvet pancakes with Nutella and strawberries and a glass of cold milk. This was my favorite breakfast of all time. Wait, how did you? Mel, I told that I've always had my eye on you. I know everything about you. I was shocked when he said that. Your favorite foods, favorite color, favorite animal, favorite hobbies, favorite perfume, favorite clothing brand. I was completely speechless. Baby, I know everything about you. Prove it. Well, I've already proven the favorite food part, he says with a smart tone. Favorite color is magenta, your favorite animal is any kind of marsupial, like a koala or kangaroo, hobbies include running, swimming, and boxing, favorite perfume is a tie between Victoria's Secret Tease or Marc Jacobs Lola, and a favorite clothing brand is Lucky Brand. He just smiled really big and my mouth hung open in shock. Without saying anything, I picked up the table, placed on the floor, and attacked his mouth with mine. I kissed him over and over again. That was the sexiest thing ever, I said. Each word followed by another kiss. Mmm, Mel, your breakfast, is going to get cold, he replied. Each word followed by a KSS from me. I don't care, I want your PS more than those pancakes, I reply and keep sing him. Angel, I worked hard on those pancakes, at least take a bite, he said and pushed me away. I smiled and KSSCD him once more before picking the table back up. I cut a piece of the pancake and took a bite. Instantly a M0AN escaped my mouth, and I immediately took another bite. I looked at Kendrick, and he was waiting with his mouth open. I give him a bite, and I see that I got Nutella on his PS. Ken, come here, he leans forward, and instead of wiping it off with the napkin, CK it off and then give him another KSS. If you keep sing me, it's going to lead to something more, I press my PS together. What if I want something more? I want something more too, but I honestly am not going to give to you, yet. What? Why? I was shocked. Because you're not just some girl I plan on and then never speaking to again. You're my mate, my future, my everything. Our first time together is going to be special, and not impulsive, I was shocked. This was like a whole other Kendrick. Jasper was right, Kendrick is definitely surprising me. Who are you, and what have you done with Kendrick Neslany? Ha ha ha, I know, it seems strange and not like me, but this is the real me. I always promised myself that when I found my mate, I would treat her better than any girl I've ever been with. Not only are you my mate, but you're going to my girlfriend, and I'm going to treat you as such. I'm going to wine and dine you, and then when I'm for certain that you're ready and the time is right, I'm going to make hot, passionate, and steamy love to you, for hours on end, while you scream my name from every asterisk I'm going to give you. While he was saying all of this, his PS were getting closer and closer to mine. I will cover your body in Cs from head to toe and then back up again. I will eat your delicious until you can't breathe and then, when after we become one with each other, I'm going to mark you, right here, he says as he nips my marking SP0T making me yelp a M0AN. Making you forever mine, he gives me a sensual KSS. Would you like that, my angel? Would I like that? To make love to this god for hours on end and have never ending? Absolutely I would like that. But I was so speechless from the AR0USAL this gave me, all I could do was nod my head. He SSCD me once more. Kendrick, you. What? I'm soaking W.ET now, and you're not going to give me any DCK, his eyes immediately turned black with LUST. I know you're W.ET baby, I can smell it, and I must say, you smell better than these pancakes, I just glared at him and he smiled. Now, finish your breakfast so I can announce to the pack that I'm officially taken and that you are too, I nodded my head, and finished the pancakes. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description, rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.